Good morning, dear students. Welcome to the session 3 of Job Interview Skills. The working title is Job Interview Mistakes to Avoid and Dress to Impress. I will start the session with great quotation of Benjamin Franklin. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. So be ready to learn new things every day. Thank you for being here. I hope you will enjoy the session. I have to say special thanks to some of my friends and YouTube channel owners. Let's learn from the YouTube channel, Pharma Guide, Career Alerts, Pharma Way, Pharma Stuff, Manpharma YouTube channel, Pharma Patsala, Cliniaxi Solutions, Pharma Training Hyderabad, and Rise Trainings, Pharma IT Careers. And I have to say special thanks to Pharmacy Association of Andhra Pradesh, Mr. Shravan Kumar Kola, State Vice President, and it's great pleasure to introduce our speaker today, who is going to talk about job interview mistakes to avoid and dress to impress. Sir was completed MBA from Xavier Institute of Management, Bhubaneswar, Orissa, core member of YUVALAY, Individual Development Center. He has a huge experience in 530 plus sessions for corporates, 110 plus sessions for students. He has a corporate portfolio of Sunpharma, Lupin, Sony, etc. Sir, thank you very much uh, for being here. I think students will enjoy this session. And students, please sit back, relax, and enjoy the session. And at the end of this session, you will get 10 minutes. So, whatever you have faced questions, you can ask to sir. Sir, thank you very much. Go ahead.
Thank you for your introduction, Shrikant. Always a
Thank
pleasure to be on Pharma Times. I am now sharing my screen so that everybody can see. Good. Okay. So excellent. Just a small confirmation, Shrikant. Is my screen visible to everyone? Shrikant, if you could confirm that the screen is visible to the audience, then I can immediately move ahead. Let me just go back and check. Yes, thank you so much. Let's move forward. I will be recapping for a brief minute on what we took a look at last time when we met. Uh, every answer in an interview has one singular goal: to emphasize your skills are employable by the company, right? So we have a responsibility to differentiate ourselves when we go for a job interview, and hence we must always have something unique to offer. What is your strength? How are you different? What can only you do? So it is activated by your passions. What does a company want? See, they will eventually make you learn the skills they want, but what they cannot teach any job candidate is your passion area, your culture, your value and ethics. So, what you really need to go prepared with is your passion and your talents, that spark in you that makes your heart beat faster. Hmm? You have to be ready, my dear students, with 5 stories of your life which demonstrate experiences where you took good decisions, which demonstrate your strengths. Maybe you managed a team in an event, maybe you faced some failure and overcame that failure. See, a no failure story can end at a failure, it always has to have an overcome story. So, 5 good strength based stories, which are experiences from your life that can clearly demonstrate to the interview panel we are worthy of selection. Because people remember stories for a long period of time. People will forget who we are, our names. What will differentiate you from the other 50 students who are being interviewed on that day are your life stories that they will carry in their minds. So prepare 5 good stories. Now, we took a look at one question, which is tell me something about yourself. And what are we not supposed to do? Tell me something yourself is the question that makes or breaks your selection in the job interview. It is meant to give all your strengths and or your differentiators. This is the question from where the next series of questions in the interview begin. Hmm? So we are not supposed to give a boring, typical, routine introduction about tell me something about yourself. I am Dhvani Patel. I belong to Vadodara. Have done my schooling from XYZ. That's already available with them on the resume. This is a very boring introduction that many students give. So no life stories are required. No family history or background is required. Location is only mentioned if you have something very unique to share about your city or where you belong. So the way you answer, tell me something about yourself, comes out in the form of I am Dhvani Patel. Throughout my academic career, I have balanced my studies and extracurriculars really well with a few examples that I have been a part of this event, this organizing committee, I have taken part in this NGO group, I have been to so and so industries. It has helped me grow as a well rounded person with a strong initiative ability, right? At my university, I learned a lot working with teams. I was able to hone my skill of detail orientation on the experiments I ran. So, tell me something about yourself is supposed to be around a 1 or 2 minutes commercial about your personal highlights. It is supposed to be who you are so that the other person understands you better. That is what the job interview is meant for, understanding you better. It is supposed to bring out your best self, your accomplishments. It's your proof of performance. And ultimately, it is supposed to indicate to the audience what's in it for them. How are we fit for their company? What does their company look for? And how our strengths align with what they are looking for. So it demands research on that company, and you have to then align yourself with their requirements and your strengths. What's in it for me? Remember this, my friends. This is what we ended with last time. Never introduce yourself as myself, Dhvani Patel. Or as you know from the resume, I am Dhvani Patel. It is simple, short, and sweet. I am so and so name, or my name is so and so. Please remove that word myself from your vocabulary from now on. That's a very damaging part to our answers when we begin with that word myself. Now we enter into day 3, and the first area that we take a look at is how we should be dressing. If you have been following through all the sessions we have taken so far, you would realize in the first session I had dressed myself in a suit and a tie, and that was deliberate, where I mentioned I don't like to dress in a suit and a tie every time. I am sure even you will not be natural and comfortable in it all the time. However, this interview moment is such where we have to demonstrate we are here to do business with them, hmm? That we want the job. It is that extra boost of confidence that is received when we suit up. We get a boost of confidence inside, and whenever, if you remember, my friends, in the first session we spoke, in 7 seconds, impressions are created. In 7 seconds, when you have not even opened your mouth, the other person would have selected you or rejected you in their mind. The rest of the interview is just a confirmation of whether they are right about you or not. So, to create that first excellent impression, dressing up in a suit, both for women and men, for girls and boys, the college students, it is necessary. Now, a few things about attire we will take a look at about men, and then we will go to the category of women very quickly. Uh, First and foremost, it's not necessary that you are completely clean shaven, but it is definitely necessary that you are well groomed. Hmm? That hairs are not sticking out at various angles from your chin or your beard, right? So prefer a clean shaven look. Otherwise, if you do have a beard or a mustache, groom it well and then go to the interview. Please do not overgel your hair in the expectation that it will look good. Have normal, decent hair. And if you are going to go for a haircut, please remember, go for a haircut at least 1 week before your interview, because our hair takes some time to get settled in its natural place and position. If I have a haircut today and go to an interview tomorrow, it is guaranteed my hair will be sticking out at various angles in the interview, which is not going to look good. So these are the small, small, finer elements that we have to take care of before the interviews. Now, for men, the color and the pattern of suits are preferred to be navy blue, black, and gray, dark gray. Hmm? They cannot be loose, hanging on our body. They have to be fit on the chest and the arms. We have to have the freedom to move our arms a bit, not too tight, and prefer double button suits, not three button suits, they are out of fashion, and not a single button suit. Single button suits typically refer to party suits, so don't prefer that. Two button suits are the ideal ones that you have to go for. Inside the shirt has to be plain solid colored shirt that is in contrast with the suit. So a light blue or a yellow or a very very light yellow, not to a flashy color, or prefer a simple plain white shirt, which is the best of all. Hmm? Never wear patterned shirts, a striped shirt or a checked shirt. Have a regular stiff collar, not a linen shirt, I mean. And the collar has to be inside the suit, please remember that. I'll soon show a photograph to all of you which represents and depicts godfathers, the dons of their age with the collars outside. That should not be the case. Now, the sleeve of the shirt should slightly be outside. If you see the photographs on the screen, the sleeve of the shirt is slightly outside the coat. That is the most ideal position. Hmm. My friends, this is what I was mentioning to you a while before. The collars can only be outside when you are a godfather or when you are a rock star. In an interview, we are not rock stars, right? So prefer the collars to be inside the suit collar. Shirt collar should be inside the suit collar. Now, many students I have seen have this habit of showing off what a wonderful pen they have. Huh? So what they do is they put it outside on the jacket pocket. No, it has to be inside the suit, inside the inner jacket pocket. Fountain pens are out of fashion, so don't go in trying to show off a fountain pen. It might leak on your shirt and might damage your attire. Have a good roller ball pen. You never know when you might need to use it in the interview. Now, the ties should preferably be solid colors or maybe small patterns or diagonal patterns. And the color of the ties preferably is blue and gray, matching with the suit. The contrast color is red. And remember, red color in ties is a power tie. It is supposed to depict confidence and power, and usually students don't wear red ties. The reason is a senior leader who is going for an interview in a major organization will wear maybe a red power tie. Students are not supposed to. So prefer neutral solid colors. It should be standard width, not too thin, not too broad, standard width and average length. So on the length part, this is the ideal size of the length of the tie. The thumb rule is the tie should fall on the belt. It should not be above the belt, it should not be below the belt. Please follow this thumb rule, because if we don't, it's a very, very sad sight to see short ties or too long, right? So please adhere to this rule. Now, for both the genders, the fingernails should be spotless and clean and cut well. For both the genders, pocket bulges should be avoided in interviews. So basically, our lower half has to be sound free. We have to be sound free. Simple rule. Hmm? No phones, no keys, no coins, and no pocket bulges. Speaking about the belt, back to men, have a conservative belt for the interview with a sober buckle. No flashy buckles, no pattern ties, no jeans belts, right? And match the color of the belt with the shoes. That is the thumb rule. Now, the socks have two matching properties, one with the trousers and one with the shoes. So, first and foremost, it should match with the trouser, and preferably it should match with the shoes, right? Now, they have to be mid calf length socks. Please do not go for these fashionable ankle socks, the pattern socks. Don't go for short socks. See, when we sit, both for men and women, the uh, trousers extend upwards, and sometimes our skin is seen, our legs are seen, which should never ever happen in an interview. So be very, very careful. The length of the socks should be high enough so that when you sit and the trousers come up, move up, your legs are not visible, only the socks are visible. Now, it goes without saying, it's a standard rule in the whole world. Your shoes should be shined. Now, very often students ask me a question, should they be shined like a mirror? No, not necessary. Just a good, healthy shine. They should not be dirty. The point is, our shoes are a reflection of how well we are able to maintain order in our life, and they should have a healthy, decent shine. They should be polished. They should not be untidy. That's the point, right? Please, please, please avoid floaters in an interview. Sandals, ankle shoes, canvas shoes. All this is a strict no no. Now, about women, women have a wide range of available options of attire, and Indian ethnic is not something I'll be going into. Perhaps you are more educated and aware about how to dress yourself in Indian ethnic. What I will definitely focus on for a few points is Western formals. So for women, Western formals are supposed to be conservative with a formal buttoned shirt if possible, preferably with a collar. Again, just like men, no fashionable colors, no loud prints, and the color options of suits for women is preferable to be gray or charcoal gray and slate blue. Black doesn't really stand out well. So if you see this color, this is right in that slate blue range. If you are going in for a skirt, the hemline length should be below the knee after sitting down. So the way you test it is sit on the chair facing a mirror and see where it is. It should be just at that right below the knee, even after sitting down. Now, about hair, I have only one advice to share at this point of time. One of the most annoying things for an interviewer is when the students play with their hair, and that especially happens in cases of nervousness. See, an interview is first and foremost not meant for students being nervous, so the interviewer or the panelist usually makes their best effort to help the students be out of nervousness. Even after that, there are questions where the students are not able to answer and they start fidgeting. Remember in body language section what we remember, what we talked about, they start fidgeting with their fingers, they start fidgeting with their nails, and they start fidgeting with their hairs. So for women, my suggestion is this: have them neatly tied and make it forgettable. Your hair should be forgettable and they should not be touched. So actions and behaviors like pushing behind the ears and playing, and the eye, The eyes covered by the fall of the hair should not be happening. Neat, tied up hair. About the nails, have them freshly coated with neutral colors. About the makeup, there's one single rule, not a lot to share over here. The single rule is the makeup should be so light and well maintained. It should appear as if we have not really made an effort to make ourselves up. So that is the thumb rule. Now, about the feet, it is necessary to have a comfortable pair of shoes. So go in for leather or microfiber shoes for interviews, in which you can basically stand comfortably for 6 to 8 hours. So prefer closed toe pumps. Your toes should not be visible in interviews. Please avoid stilettos or clunky platforms that make noise while walking. See, the simple rule in interviews is our attire should not be making any form of noise for both genders. Now, coming back to rules that apply to both men and women, have accessories to a minimum. The only element of an accessory is supposed to be proof that you are married or not. So one ring maximum is a good thumb rule. Now, simple small studs. Don't carry a purse inside, a wallet inside unless necessary. Mm, the watch that you wear should be conservative in nature. It should not be the steel band that again makes a noise when you move your hand. I have known of panelists who have allergies from strong smells and perfumes. So while we make an effort to smell good, avoid strong colognes, strong perfumes, strong body scents. Please remember this. Just a light perfume is good enough. Strong smells should not be coming out from us. It is very, very off putting to a few interview members. Now, a strict rule in interviews is to avoid phones. We might not realize this from all the interviews I take from students. Nearly 30 to 40% phones from students ring inside the interview, and you might be surprised how silly could those people be. But my friends, we need to be extra careful. It is not putting the phone in the vibrate mode, because that vibration in your phone will disturb you during the interview, and that happens with so many students that I work with. So either it is completely silent, or the phone is left outside in your bag with someone whom you can trust with, right? Avoid phones in the interview room. Now, the same principle applies to bags as well. See, there is usually a waiting room or a cloakroom outside the interview room. So leave the bags there. Avoid bags. Some students carry bags inside the interview room, which is not good. This one is the more humorous or funny one in its own way. Hygiene, good health, and food hygiene. We must rinse our mouth, have a mint, or have a good, comfortable washroom break before you enter the interview room. And please never have food in your mouth. What we should be having as a folder should be a good fall leather or a leather folder or a black folder, but not the plastic ones. Hmm? Avoid awkward dressing like sleeveless dressing, like showing up your midriffs. Loose or tight fitting clothes, comfortable fit clothes should be there. Never ever in an interview wear a t-shirt or a shirt with words printed on the shirt or t-shirt, because that indicates to the other person an aspect of your personality which you may or may not want to really, because there are questions and judgments in the mind of the interviewers on what has been written. So avoid words on clothes. Of course, it goes without saying, sloppy or dirty clothes are not appreciated in interviews. And there have been instances where untidy, ripped jeans are worn. Again, a strict no no. Good, proper trousers. You might be surprised actually. This untidy ripped jeans in the US sells for $400. Look at this, $425 for untidy ripped jeans. Surprising, isn't it? So it's not a style statement for an interview. Be careful. It might be a style statement in the college environment, definitely not in an interview. All right. The last part on attire that we take a look at is covering up your tattoos. I understand tattoos are a expression of my personality. It is part of who I am for many people in the world today. That does not mean you allow that part of personality to show up in an interview. Look at the transformation in the same person across two photographs, right? So, how you express yourself personally outside should not be the way you express yourself in an interview room. In an interview, it should be clean and professional. Cover up your tattoos. That is what I ask of you. Okay, now we continue on where we left off last time on answering questions effectively, and then immediately after this section, we will run into that part where we make mistakes and how we should be avoiding mistakes of interviews. Very critical. So, that tell me about yourself question has in a way opened a window of conversation. See, really smart students have this ability which we also have to cultivate slowly and steadily. Whenever we answer a question, remember it is giving the interviewer an opportunity to ask the next question of the interview. So, something interesting that you have said in your answer, especially the first answer, tell me something about yourself, has given the interviewer an opportunity to ask further questions. So, remember this, any answer we give has opened a window of conversation where we may by choice refer briefly to another subject on which the interviewer may ask a question. So you can lead the whole conversation into your favorite topic when open ended questions are asked, not when close ended questions are asked. See, tell me something about yourself. What are your strengths? What do you do in your spare time? What has been your accomplishment? What are your extracurriculars? Are huge opportunities to refer to where you want the conversation to go. So you have to throw those cues in the introduction part. Now, let us talk about this question. Why should we select you? Why should anybody select you? Because we are a smart person, not just a hardworking person. All the talents and abilities and the skills we'll talk about in the fourth session next week. Hmm? Uh, but today, on this question, play on your strengths, your strongest qualification. You must have had to do something in your life. You must have participated in events. You must have faced some accomplishments. You must have some strengths to talk about. If we don't, we are not a differentiator. Remember that. So, draw connection to the requirement of the job description with your qualification. Demonstrate your interest in what? Learning. Always remember, they are here to take people who are willing to learn and grow. So, your interest for diseases, medicines, your healthcare, the medical equipment area, your formulations, right? So, demonstrate your interest in that area. Now, ultimately, it is a question of what you are going to give to the organization, and that they are going to be your strengths. So it is your interest to learn, it is your interest to grow in that organization for a long period of time that you have to demonstrate. What eliminates a person from an interview is these things. When it is asked, why do you want to join us or why should we select you? Typically, the mistake students make is, your organization is such a reputed organization. I would love to make a career with you. That is not a reason of why you should get selected because their organization is good. Hmm? That why the company, some students make a mistake switching careers, not an acceptable answer at all, because by saying you are using this company for switching careers, what you're essentially saying to this company is, after 2 to 3 years, after gaining the brand of this organization, you will again change. No. Hmm? You are here to establish yourself for the long term. That should be the kind of answer. Why our company? I am looking for a place where I can grow and thrive and learn and contribute my strengths. That is the kind of answer that you are supposed to give. You're not supposed to give, why are you joining an IT company? Just as an example, not pharmaceutical, but maybe an IT company. Because I don't want to make a career in electrical. That is why I'm going to join an IT company. I don't want to make a career in chemical. That is why I'm joining an IT company. That is not the kind of questions or answers we are supposed to give. Now, there is a problem that students run into. Why do you want to join us? Because I want to make a career into a particular area, say finance, say formulations. No, keep your mind open. Keep your mind open that I want breadth and exposure of a variety of skill sets through which I can keep contributing my talents. And perhaps after a few years, after the company has asked me to do a wide range of jobs, I will incline myself towards one specific area. So in an interview, don't give a specific answer कि मुझे तो एक ही area में काम करना है. I only want to be focused in one area. No, that is not the kind of answer you give. Give them the open option of where you can be placed in the organization. The option is theirs, not yours. As a student, all right, after you have made your career in an industry 3 4 5 years, then of course it is a choice. But as a student, it is completely openness and willingness to learn. Don't give them an answer that you're focused and narrowed down on one area. यही area में काम करूंगा, otherwise नहीं करूंगा. Please don't say this. Now, many a times you may be asked some problem solving questions or some situational questions. How do you answer these? There's a pattern, there's a framework, there's a answer called a star response. Will of course, it is written on the screen and you will of course see it very shortly. So the questions come in this form to the student. Now tell me about a time when you had a conflict with a team member or a student, or tell me about a time when you achieved something great, or tell me about a time when you failed and how you overcame that failure. All these are situational questions. Hmm? Tell me about a time when you solved a problem. Give me an example of a problem that you faced. How did you approach it, and what was the outcome? So these kind of questions, even strength weakness questions, can be answered in the star response. See, why strength weakness also? Because you just don't say, remember the 5 story concept. Life stories are your answers. Answers are not, my strength is team leading, my strength is detail orientation. That is not the kind of strength answer you are supposed to give. You're supposed to give a story that this was a situation in my life and this was the activity to be done, this is the action that I took on it, and as a consequence this was the outcome. Through this story, in the star response, your strength or weakness should come out. So look at the star response. S, describe the situation. Under what circumstance was the whole environment? Tough, easy? Describe the situation and then explain the task or the problem that was there. The second thing you explain in the next sentence is, what did you have to do? What was the problem? What was the task that you had to achieve? And then finally, the third one that you describe in a slightly larger way is what you did. Finally, after describing the actions that you took, because that gives meaning, what you did is important for the interviewer, right? What was the outcome? What was the result? And then star, you can additionally, if given time, explain two more things. AR. So, situation, task, action, and result. But if you have an opportunity to improve, what would be the alternative action? And what would be the alternative better consequence or result. So think about failure stories. Situation tha, task tha very tough, I took this action, as a result it was not as expected, I failed. So what could I do now, or what alternative action I took or I could take? And beyond this, what alternative result would be generated or was generated? Correct? So this is how star AR you describe such answers. Very, very powerful way to answer. And see, you don't need to tell the interviewer, I'm going to give you a star response. No, no, no. It is natural. The way you describe situation, task, action, and result has to come out naturally in the form of a story. So remember, the stories that you create for your answers and your powerful experiences have to be formed in the star response. Write down your answers as a star response to your life stories. Ultimately, the whole answer should end with what you learned, because that is what the interview is trying to see, what you have learned from your experience. Right? Now, when answering weakness based questions, students typically make a few mistakes. If I ask you, what is your weakness? What will we write? Oh, I get angry very fast. Or I'm very impulsive. I can't say no. I can't say no. Other people convince me very easily. These are the kind of weaknesses students give in an answer. You know what is wrong with these answers? These are elimination questions. The panelist will think, oh, if this person gets angry, that is not something I can change. Why would I select this person if that person gets angry? कंपनी में आके दूसरों को डिस्टर्ब करेगा. Right? A person who is impulsive will make mistakes, and in pharmaceutical, when people's lives are at stake, no mistakes are affordable. So an impulsive person will not be selected. A person who can't say no, who can't stand strong to that point, again, who wants that person? Everybody wants that person. Please realize it's a trick question. If you say I can't say no, it is not a weakness, it is a strength. See, you can't say no is an advantage of that organization. So it is actually a strength. Please don't bluff. Remember, there was a time when we used to disguise strengths as weaknesses and give this answer. What you would actually say is, I'm very detail oriented, I'm very, I know I can't, I'm a perfectionist. Many students give this answer as a weakness. I'm a perfectionist. That is actually a strength. Why are you trying to trick an intelligent interview panelist by disguising a strength as a weakness? That days are over. Never bluff. Never disguise a strength as a weakness. Right? Be honest about your weaknesses, and remember, don't share behavior based weaknesses. This is the secret. This is the trick. Your weakness should be a skill based weakness that some or the other day you can learn and overcome. What are those kinds of weaknesses? My English is not good. My vocabulary is not strong. That is completely acceptable. My writing skills are not good today. And then you have to immediately explain. So, what's your weakness? My writing skills are not good. Immediately after saying that, you have to follow it up with, what are you trying to do to overcome this weakness? You can't just leave it like that. So, my writing skills are not as strong as I think it could be. I've started reading a lot. I've started watching English news channels. Hmm. Um, for example, maybe for 90% website. I'm not good at coding, but since then I have taken courses, I've increased my knowledge in these programs, and now I'm excited about learning those things. So, skill based weaknesses can be overcome and learned in the future, and the company will select you for it. Behavior based weaknesses, मैं गुस्सा होता हूँ, मैं impulsive होता हूँ, your culture system, your values, the company cannot change, and those are elimination answers. Be careful. Now, there are some very innocent, harmless behavior based weakness answers that you can give. What's your weakness? Sir, Rasgulla. Rasgulla is my weakness. right? It's a harmless weakness. It's not going to harm anybody in the interview answer. ठीक है? My bad handwriting is my weakness. मैं डॉक्टर की तरह लिखता हूँ. That's not going to eliminate you. They are harmless weaknesses. Then there are some other weaknesses, like I'm not good at public speaking. I'm shy, or I'm overly trusting. Try to avoid those answers because they are again the category of behavior based weaknesses. Please remember this. Hmm. I see that it's 11:40, so we are going to wrap up in the next 7 minutes. Now, here is a video I want to share with you. The tone of your voice has a lot to do in demonstrating your confidence, your ability to convince the panel members. So, how to use the tone of your voice? I wish to show a video to you. It comes from a very famous TED talk. The name of the TED talk is How to Speak So That People Want to Listen. You may write it down in your notebook if you're taking notes. The person speaking here is Julian Treasure. Let's see this video now.
You have an amazing toolbox. This instrument is incredible, and yet this is a toolbox that very few people have ever opened. I'd like to have a little rummage in there with you now and just pull a few tools out that you might like to take away and play with, which will increase the power of your speaking. Register, for example. Now, falsetto register may not be very useful most of the time, but there's a register in between. I'm not going to get very technical about this for any of you who are voice coaches. You can locate your voice, however. So if I talk up here in my nose, you can hear the difference. If I go down here in my throat, which is where most of us speak from most of the time, but if you want weight, you need to go down here to the chest. You hear the difference? We vote for politicians with lower voices. It's true, because we associate depth with power and with authority. That's register. And we have timbre. It's the way your voice feels. Again, the research shows that we prefer voices which are rich, smooth, warm, like hot chocolate. Well, if that's not you, that's not the end of the world, because you can train. Go get a voice coach. And there are amazing things you can do with breathing, with posture, with exercises to improve the timbre of your voice. Then prosody. I love prosody. This is the sing-song, the meta-language that we use in order to impart meaning. It's route one for meaning in conversation. People who speak all on one note are really quite hard to listen to if they don't have any prosody at all. That's where the word monotonic comes from, or monotonous, monotone. Also, we have repetitive prosody now coming in, where every sentence ends as if it were a question, when it's actually not a question, it's a statement. And if you repeat that one over and over, it's actually restricting your ability to communicate through prosody, which I think is a shame. So let's try and break that habit. Pace. I can get very excited by saying something really quickly, or I can slow right down to emphasize. And at the end of that, of course, is our old friend, silence. There's nothing wrong with a bit of silence in a talk, is there? We don't have to fill it with ums and ahs. It can be very powerful. Of course, pitch often goes along with pace to indicate arousal, but you can do it just with pitch. Where did you leave my keys? Where did you leave my keys? It's a slightly different meaning in those two deliveries. And finally, volume. I can get really excited by using volume, sorry about that if I startled anybody, or I can have you really pay attention by getting very quiet.
So, tone is something that we can work on. Now, there are some basic mistakes that we as students make in interviews. I'm going to avoid this video, but the intent of this image is that many students say, मैं फ्यूचर में बिजनेस स्टार्ट करूंगा. I will start a business in the future. Now, entrepreneur answer is not appreciated by a job interviewer because you are there to get a job. You're not supposed to say 5 years, 10 years down the line, you will be doing your own business. Otherwise, they will say, Acha, you will learn from us and then make your own business. Is that it? So, no entrepreneurship answers in job interviews, please. It'll kill your chances of getting selected in that interview. Now, there are situations where we don't know the answer. It's completely all right, hmm, to say I don't know or I don't remember, but the way you say it matters significantly. For example, one time you say, I'm sorry, I don't know, I don't remember it right now. The next time you have that element to speak out, you'll say, sir, I'm not sure at the moment. It's just there in my head, but I am not able to recollect. I'm not aware of it. The third time you will say, I'm sorry, I'm not aware of it right now. I'm sure I can find it out for you. So it is an assurance that you can find out the answer. It's your confidence that you are not sure right now. See, you don't have to fake this. Okay? It should not sound like तुम sure नहीं हो. You're not confident of answering. It should sound like you don't know. But you have to be confident about saying it. Comfortable. You have to be comfortable about saying I don't know it right now, or I'm not able to figure it out right now. Okay? So don't pretend, but change the words when you answer. I don't know, I don't remember, I'm not sure, I'm not aware of it. It's just not coming to me at this moment. Now, situation number two is when you give an answer that annoys the other person. The other person is disappointed by your answer, and you can see it on their face, or they get angry. At that time, our brain shuts off because we feel that threat. Panelist gussa ho gaya. Person is angry. What do we do? So we end up making statements like, "Okay, sir. Yes, sir." Avoid these singular words. Show empathy, show understanding, except in a way that हाँ मुझसे में भी गलती हुई हो. There might be a mistake from my end. So I understand. I'm sorry. I understand. I made a mistake. Can I get a chance to correct it? Can we do something about this? This is what I suggest. Then offer a solution. This is what I suggest, if possible. Otherwise, end your answer, your response to that person is, I'm sorry, sir, I understand what you are saying, my mistake. Right? Now, there are many times, especially in virtual interviews, where someone asks you a question but you don't hear them, or you didn't understand them. So the normal instinctual response that comes from students is, what, sir? Sir, can you repeat that question? So be careful. Don't say what. Yeah, what, sir? Say, take responsibility. Mera problem hai. It's my problem. I have not heard you. I'm sorry. I missed that. So what you say to the panel member in the interviews? I'm sorry, sir. I missed that. Could you say it again, please? Could you repeat what you said once more for me? I would appreciate that. Hmm? So I'm sorry I didn't catch that. I was not able to follow you. Would you mind repeating it for me? I missed it. Use these phrases. Avoid that what, sir. It's very annoying to an interviewer when a student says, what, sir? Be careful. Now, situation number four. We forgot what we were saying. We are giving an answer, and halfway through, suddenly the answer goes out of our mind. We don't know what to say anymore. So there's an awkward silence. Now, to remove that awkward silence in an interview, what you do to hit the reset button is, you can use this now. See, typically in our interviews, we avoid but in such situations, what that word, it was just on the tip of my tongue. It I just forgot. I'm sorry, I'm having a mental blank. I can't remember the word in English. Give me a moment. Give me a second. Let me try that again. Or fill it with, I completely lost my thought. Now, you can't get stuck in that moment. You have to move on. So, how to move on? Let me start over. फिर से शुरू करो. Hmm? I'm sorry, I've completely forgotten. Hopefully, it will come back to me in a few minutes. Sorry, yeah, ma'am. And then naturally, they will take it forward. Okay? Avoid awkward silence. Now, the second last point of today, we don't know what to say. It's not that you have forgotten, you don't know. At that moment, for 10-15 seconds, you don't know what to say. It's you are still forming an answer in your mind. So your job is to buy some time. See, you pause for 5 seconds to 10 seconds. You don't have to say anything to buy some time. 5 to 10 seconds to think about an answer is completely acceptable. But now that you realize more than 10 seconds are passing, say something to buy some time. Hmm. Sir, let me think about that for a minute. You don't have to say this immediately after the question. Please understand. After 5-10 seconds, you are not able to come up with an answer, then say this. Sir, let me think about it for a minute, for a few seconds. That's a very interesting question, sir. Let me think. Oh, that's tricky. I have never faced that before. Um, right? So these are the sentences you use. I'm not sure. Give me a second to think about that. Or give me a moment to think about how to explain that. This is rare, but if a glass of water has been placed for you on the table, then to buy some time, you may take a sip of water if available. If not, of course, you have many other sentences. Now, the last part of our session today is this. There might be a situation where the panel member doesn't understand you. You see confusion on their faces and you think you have explained it well. In that moment, what we do is paraphrase. Sir, I am take responsibility. Sir, I don't think I have given a very clear answer. Let me try that again, and then don't wait for permission. Immediately try to answer the same confusing answer again in different words. Right? Say, sorry, I think I just confused you in my answer. What I am trying to say is, and then you get another opportunity to answer the same question that they have not understood. You get a second opportunity to answer it in a different way. What I'm trying to say is, right? So, this brings us to the end of a wonderful third session. Let me just stop my sharing now and open up the forum for questions with all of us. So, students, I am looking at the chat window now for your questions.
Thank you for the wonderful session, sir.
Thank you, Shrikant.
सर मुझे लग रहा है कि अभी 1 आवर हो गया. आई एम completely involved in the session.
True, true. The how the time went today, we did not even realize. You are
Sir, can
absolutely
you
right.
tell me about Julian Treasure for a few minutes? I really inspired that video.
True. So actually, Julian, see, TED has a format. What we see as TED Talks, we know the students would know about TED Talks, right? They are TEDx. Many of them are TEDx talks, which are local regional talks. Now, TED annually once a year, I believe in New York or somewhere, collects all the best speakers of the world and organizes TED. And there is only one TED event. So Julian Treasure was one of those key people, voice coach, very famous voice coach. You can check out how to speak so that people want to listen by Julian Treasure as a TED talk. And see, what I showed you is just 2 minutes out of a 10-minute talk. There are
Okay,
so many other exercises he makes the participants do, and so many other pieces of information that he gives. I would really, really encourage all the students to go and watch that TED talk.
thank you, sir. So, students, forum is open up for questions. If you have any questions in your mind, please ask the sir. If you want to ask in Telugu, write it in Telugu. I will translate and ask sir. No issue. Clarify all your doubts. A chance come to you. So it's the time to refresh your mind. If time to know all your doubts. So don't worry about the grammar. Don't worry about all the things. Ask the question, whatever in your mind.
So you can
And
ask about all the things that you feel are mistakes that you make, or whether this is right or this is wrong. Because students have a lot of doubt in their minds. So students, I will really encourage you to ask questions today.
okay. And also write what your feelings about this session. And if you are not seen last two sessions, see the sessions after this in video. So waiting for your questions, and whatever your suggestions, if you want to give some suggestions, we are welcome. Chinta Prasad, sir, tell me about package details. I think how to ask salary details in interview.
All right. So see, there are multiple things that came to my mind when Chinta Prasad wrote this. Sir, tell me about package. First and foremost, as a student, you should never be worried about a package. Please allow me to explain why I'm saying this. See, our task, yes, I want a good package, right? But then you would already have an indication of which company will offer you how much money before you go into the interview. You would have talked to so many people before the interview. I hope you will talk to other people in that industry, around that industry, that company, कि ये company कितना package देता है, how much money does this company give, and this has to be more or less clear before you go into the interview. Now, as a student, I assure you, no company will ask you तुम्हें कितना पैसा चाहिए. See, the next sentence that Chinta Prasad has written is, if they ask about package, what was the answer we want to say? A company will not ask you to a fresher student, how much money should I offer you? They have a package in their mind. Shrikant, am I right in saying this? It is
Yes,
pre-decided. It is pre-decided. They don't give you a choice. A choice or a package negotiation happens when you are 2 years experience, 5 years experience, you're going for a lateral interview. And those negotiations happen with the HR team in a separate interview. It doesn't happen in a technical interview with pharmaceutical professionals. So, in the interview, there are two things. The panelist will not ask you about package, and we should also not ask them about, sir, what does this company offer as a package? That interview is not meant for a package discussion, it is only meant for a selection. Once you get selected, any further discussion about package you have to do separately with the HR team of that company. If you have any question as a student, also feel free to ask the company's HR team about the package. All right. I
yes,
hope my answer is clear.
yes, sir. Any questions?
Uh, Shrikant, I
Yes,
think the next question is something you can answer by Sanjay. IPQA
Sanjay,
department, what type of work?
Sanjay, please confine to interview related questions. We will discuss in a separate live, because sir is not available after this session. Please ask the interview related questions. Prasad, thank you. Uh, I I think you got good answer. Any questions related to the job interview skills, please welcome. Uh, I will continue this session for 5 minutes. If you have any questions, please ask, because I will take live on separate for this pharmaceutical interview questions, because sir will not available after this session. So how you feels in this session? Any suggestions? How you feels? Please write it in comment box. Thank you very much, sir. I think we will wait 1 or 2 minutes. Any questions will be there. We will addressing. 59
Definitely.
minutes completed. Okay, students. Thank you very much. I think Miriana, you have any questions after publishing this video? Ask the questions before this, below this video. We will address these questions in fourth session. Sir, is it okay? If
Perfect.
anybody, yes, if anybody wants ask questions related to this, who are watched this video after this session, means today evening or tomorrow, who watched this video, ask your questions below the video. We will answer all these questions. That is a closing of this session, job interview skills. Whoever wants to ask questions about job interview skills, we will spare 10 minutes extra time. In that video, we'll reply all the questions. Thank you, sir. Thank you, students. Thank you, fellow YouTubers, and thank you, one and all. Thank you very much, sir. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Sir.